Thoughtless, casual gaming. Thoughtless, casual gaming. Thoughtless, casual gaming. Thoughtless, casual gaming.
Man, that was a terrible song.
That was the worst song. Like, Offspring had one good album. Hello,
Smash?
you are. Yes.
Good. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Continue.
You are listening to Thoughtless Casual Gaming. We are two guys from Geelong who every now and then remember that we're in a podcast and we should record.
Now is one of those times. These are their stories.
These dun dun dun. We put it out to you guys. So we did an episode, a year ago? Last year sometime?
Yeah. In the past.
In the past, we did an episode where we got you guys to write the episode. You guys sent in your questions. We answered them. Much hilarity was ensued.
Yeah. Turns out you guys are terrible at writing episodes, and that's why it's taken a year to do it again.
Yep. So we have got some more questions to answer. We've had a whole heap of questions shot through in the Discord, just the one on Facebook. So that must mean most of our Facebook followers are in the Discord.
They know where to get us.
That's
they
it.
know.
Yeah. Links in the description. If you are not in the Discord, by all means jump in. There's a lot going on at a lot of times. In fact, there's quite a few people in there at the moment.
Several. It is.
Several. There's more than two. More than us two, anyway. So we have some questions to answer. We have some answers to give. And we have some people to disappoint.
And probably some questions to ask on the back of the questions that are asked of us.
Are we asking questions about why the questions are being asked?
Or we're just questioning the state of the people asking them. One of the two.
I think that goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yeah, we knew that, eh?
I mean, you guys question the state of us, so I think it's only fair.
The tables have turned.
Anyway, let's hit it off. So, first of all, I'll hit the Facebook question first. So, any plans for Diablo 4? Now, are you a Diablo player? Have you played Diablo? What is your Diablo experience?
Limited in that I think when Diablo, like years ago, was huge, I was playing Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
I was spending a lot of time on Baldur's Gate. I never really got to Diablo because Diablo seemed like a lot more button mashing than the game I was currently playing. It was a bit of a change of pace. Where I think I've changed my tune is on the recent Warhammer skin, which effectively of Diablo. We played it. I can't remember what it was called.
The Inquisitor?
No, the fantasy one.
Fantasy. The other one.
Yeah, it was Diablo, but
Yeah,
that one.
Fuck, what was that called? That's going to test me. It's not Vermintide. It's the other one.
That was the other one.
Chaos something.
I'm not even going to Google it. Either way,
No.
We played that. That was thoroughly enjoyable, and I feel like I could get along with some button mashing after this. And now I've just discovered in the last week that there is a new Diablo coming.
Yeah, there is
and
indeed.
I could be tempted. Is the moral of the story?
I did a lot of Diablo. Like Diablo 2, I did an absolute shitload of, LAN parties back in the day and all sorts of stuff. And I had, I think, every character up to maximum level or whatever it was. I did a shitload of Diablo 2. Diablo 3 didn't touch until it came to the console, and then I played it quite a bit as well. And I've always enjoyed it. It's a fun game. It's, easy enough to get the hang of. But the only thing is, it's much more fun multiplayer.
Mm.
So it's not the sort of game that I would generally pick up a controller and whittle away a few hours by myself. I wouldn't need to have somebody there. So it all depends.
It is a good party game in that it's one of those ones that you can just run around and talk shit with friends and do stupid shit. So I feel like, it really does shine. And in that, you kind of need people at the same level. Otherwise, you're just following the person and accumulating all the equipment and XP that you shouldn't, aka what we did with the last one. I suppose the challenge will be there is also a new Vermintide, if I hear rightly.
There's a few games coming.
And
there are a few, and one of them is actually an answer to a subsequent question. But they did the Warhammer Bones, which is all the computer games based on Warhammer coming out soon. There's a lot of stuff there I'm interested in. Bolt Gun, for one.
I
I kind of want to pick that up.
Agreed. So up until recently, I didn't have plans for Diablo. I do have plans for Diablo now. Well, when I say plans, I am Diablo curious. It will basically come down to whether I feel like I'm excessively in a spending mood at some point.
Yeah, I'm hoping that a friend of mine buys it and I can steal his Xbox password and download it myself.
I see what you've done there.
Yeah. Yep. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Say no more. All right, couple of quick fire questions on Discord. Tomato sauce, cupboard or fridge?
Cupboard.
All right.
Oh, it was a quick fire question. I gave a quick fire answer. But no, my whole issue here is you're putting generally tomato sauce on something that is hot. If it's fridged, the temperature difference is far too disparate between the food and the sauce. What we need is something room temperature. Otherwise, you end up with this weird hot-cold combination that we don't like.
Fair enough.
I know it says to refrigerate after opening, and frankly, the packaging is wrong.
Yeah, I am a cupboard then fridge person. I don't mind a bit of cold sauce on a hot pie.
No, too cold. Take it back. Because even at room temperature, it cools it at an appropriate level. But also, I eat pies weirdly in that I take the lid off, and then I add sauce, and then I mix it in, and then I eat the filling with a fork, and then I eat the base, and then I eat the lid.
That is very strange.
I know, but it's the best. I'm telling you. It's so good.
Depends where I am. Like, I found a nice little bakery near work, so I've had a couple of pies from there.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not a work thing.
It's a bit of sauce on top, and then just eat the thing quickly and before it falls all over your hands. But at home, yeah, bit of sauce on top, and I cut it up into mouthful pieces. Got to get a bit of pastry and a bit of meat.
I separate the whole out. It's a whole process. It's a thing. I don't know why it's a thing. It's been a thing for years.
All right, toilet roll, wall or out?
I mean,
I don't really understand what wall or out is.
Are we underhanging or overhanging?
Yeah, let's go that way.
And we're overhanging.
We're overhanging.
We're going out. Correct.
That's what the patent was. When it was first invented, the patent was overhanging.
And equally, it's just better. Like, nobody wants to, punch the wall with the tips of their fingers trying to grab some loo roll.
Yeah. No, not wrong.
Be better humans. Actually, that's a lie. The only time I did intentionally do it the other way was when I was living somewhere where I had very anally retentive housemates and I didn't like them.
And you did it on purpose.
I intentionally, and not only that, but I would rip toilet paper halfway through a sheet because I knew it irritated them. Anyway.
This is the Jace we all know and love. that answer does not surprise me in the slightest.
That is just it's things like we just putting one fork in the knife section of the drawer upside down. It was needed.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Monopoly, classic or rubbish?
My issue with Monopoly is that my mother is very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And also an accountant. And
okay.
And those things, it turns out, with Monopoly do not make for a fun game. However, I feel like, again, it comes down to the players in that we've got like a Monopoly Junior. It's like a 3-year-old plus version that we're introducing the kids to and stuff. And that's great.
Monopoly Junior is fantastic. I've played that with the kids as well. And it's such a better game.
Yeah. I am interested in it as a way to teach money as a concept. And I am mildly concerned about the version now that just has credit cards.
Yes. Monopoly is still going strong. There's like 4,000 different current editions available. You can
Yeah,
get
stop
Monopoly
it.
for anything. It's just, yeah. I mean, it's classic rubbish for me.
It can be two things. I'm on
Yes.
board.
Best suit in playing cards.
I mean, Motorhead only did one song about them.
Fair.
I don't show. Oh, I mean, to be fair, Heart was a good band. Lucy was in the Sky with Diamonds. I got nothing for clubs though.
No.
Clubs is definitely not it.
S Club 7.
That's why Spades wins.
I'm with you there. I think Spades is definitely the best suit, unless you're playing the game of Hearts, in which case it's still Spades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a difference between best and most valuable in game.
Yes. And last question from this questionnaire is the preferred toast rating, and he's attached a picture in Discord with 9 pieces of toast from various different shades, from white
From
to black.
bread to burnt.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody chooses anything that isn't a 4 or a 5, they're a complete monster. It's basically the moral of the story here.
Yep, totally agree. For me, it's somewhere between a 1 and a 2.
Agreed.
Yep. I don't like. I'm not a big toast person. I like warm bread.
Not only do I require a very specific toast level, right, but possibly the biggest crime someone can commit is to make toast and then it pops and then they're doing something, whatnot, and then they come back like a minute, 5 minutes later and put butter on said toast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need to be standing at the toaster at the moment it pops with the butter pre-opened, knife in hand, to get that onto the bread at the optimal temperature, or it's just a waste. Throw it out, start again.
Totally agree. My warm bread must be warm enough so that the butter melts on it, and that's enough.
No, but I need crispy, crunchy outside. I need still a little bit fluffy on the middle. I mean, there's a whole thing, which is why you only buy toast slice, because otherwise, if you buy the bread slice, the middle isn't as fluffy because there isn't as much of it because it's thinner.
Yeah, fair. What is your favorite cheese?
I mean, yes. Cheese is good. I honestly, I am a fan of just straight up tasty, mature, bitey, extra sharp. Like, give me a Mercy Valley kind of just extra sharp deal every day of the week. But I will also quite happily just eat a wheel of camembert.
Oh yeah, tasty or camembert for me, for sure.
But like, when's cheese bad? Like, Parmesan has its place, right? And actually, if you want to know the place for Parmesan, if we go back to the toast conversation, if we do toasty as opposed to toast specifically, we butter the outside of the bread because we're not monsters, and then you add just the shit supermarket, like, dry desiccated Parmesan cheese to the outside of the bread before going in toasty press. You're welcome.
Okay. I've always been a big fan of sticking a couple of pieces of bread in the grill, in the oven, and tomato paste and cheese on top. And like pizza bread.
There's the thing. Yes. The other one that apparently my wife doesn't understand at all, right? But as well as my love for toast done correctly, I have a definite love for just fresh bread and melted. Like, I like melty cheese. I like fresh bread. So I am regularly known to cut up cheese, microwave it. 30 odd seconds usually does the trick, and then scrape that onto fresh buttered bread. And you have a melted cheese sandwich, and it's so good. So good.
Life lessons here. Like, we're helping people. This was an interesting one. If you had to fight each other, I mean, if we had to, how is that different from any other day?
I mean,
like, we do it for fun.
I was about to say, why are we waiting till we have to?
If you had to fight each other Mortal Kombat style, what weapon / power would you choose?
I didn't see this question and have not prepared, but I feel like that's unnecessary. I I will say, generally, Sub-Zero was the go-to character,
Mm-hmm.
so that's pretty hard to go past. The whole freeze thing is just fun, except the fact that they always make exactly the same pose.
Yes.
But otherwise, I'm just, it's just mash X. Like, what's the superpower for mashing X?
Up, down, triangle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I reckon if I had to fight somebody, and I'm not necessarily saying this would be you, but if I had to fight somebody in a Mortal Kombat style, like, most of them have something that they can throw at people, whether it's like balls of ice or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if you were throwing bodily fluids at people. Like, how
I mean,
quickly those fights would be over.
How does that change it any other day?
I know, right?
So I will say the only other thing that literally beats everything in a Mortal Kombat style game is any kind of teleportation.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just you win. You spam that, you win.
Yep.
So
That was always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Favorite chill, relax, zone out video games?
Pitfall.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the Atari 2600 is just straight up gold. Again, the go to here was Gears of War.
Okay. For a chill out one, just killing and
just straight up. And
revving.
when I say kind of chill out, it's we've had a shit day of work and I just need to take my aggression out on something. And where this really Gears won because it was couch co-op. So when the wife had a shit day, we used to just sit on the couch pre-kids, get home from work and be like, screw this, let's murder aliens.
Yep.
And we'd do that for a little bit until she was in a better mood. And then we'd order dinner and life was good. But then we got responsibilities and
life was not so good.
Yeah.
How far did you get in Gears? Did you play it? What was the hardest level? Was it like an insane or it was called something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah. I remember going through it and we were on the hardest difficulty and it was me and a guy that I used to work with and we got through like half of it on the hardest difficulty and then I think he moved back to the States or something and then so I never actually finished it on the hardest level. Which is disappointing.
I don't think we ever really tried, to be fair.
I mean, if it's a zone out kill aliens thing, it's not a hard difficulty type.
Most of the time, so you'd played through the game when it still was a game. So you'd play through that on whatever probably it defaulted to be honest. And then it was just the multiplayer swarm thing. You just fill multiplayer with bots.
Mm-hmm.
And you murder bugs. And that's kind of where we lived.
I mean, I was as far as zoning out and killing things goes, Quake 3 was the big one for me. So, I'd get home after work, hard day at work, God mode on, and just team arena, Quake 3, kill a lot of people. The one I was playing recently, well, not that recently, but Power Wash Simulator. So good to chill out with.
Speaking of Games Workshop.
Exactly. The fact that they're bringing a 40K expansion to Power Wash Simulator, I am right back on board. I am itching. I will play that until the Inquisitors come home. All right. Ultimate tabletop gaming snacks and beverages.
So, given that most of my tabletop gaming happens of an evening, which is an important factor right here. So this is post-dinner, which is where we're most hankering for something sweet, which is why it is not a chip of some variety or whatnot. So I'm living in the world of confectionery, and likely something chocolate-based over something Jube-based. So I'm sitting here with crispy M&Ms, probably melt in your mouth, not in your hand. Bit of a hard candy shell does a wonderful thing, and the crispy is the lord of the M&M.
Yep. No, I totally agree. So yeah, I don't mind the odd lolly. Odd lolly. I tend to eat them a lot. Party mix, big bag of party mix lollies, or big bag of M&Ms. I am diabetic, so I have to watch how many I eat. In which case, I just watch myself eat them. Yeah, I don't limit myself at all. But Pepsi Max is my drink of choice of usual. So,
And
I'm not a big drinker, alcohol based. So,
I'm not a big drinker, but I do have a don't drink alone type rule. So I suppose gaming events occasions are one of the few times, assuming we're in a licensed venue, cough, throw the dice, that I do enjoy. In generally, it's just whatever random stupidly overpriced beer in a 4-pack takes my fancy to try. But otherwise, I am a sucker, and this harkens back to a throw the dice. The Bundaberg lemonades, it's just a thing. It is a glorious thing. So that's my default go-to there if we are talking an unlicensed venue.
All right, if you could assemble your own team to save the universe, who would be on it?
Well, not me. Is basically I feel like that's a responsibility I shouldn't be allowed to have. And I did miss some of these questions, so I haven't prepared at all.
That's all right.
Questions in response to this. I assume we're talking fictional people allowed, because otherwise we're screwed.
I would say so. I know. I thought. I mean, you can go the obvious. Like I was thinking, Batman, Superman. Batman's smart enough to
just
do
put the
anything.
Justice League in there and step back. Really,
chuck in Dr. Manhattan and maybe Jeffrey the Land Shark. Because reasons.
Why would you not? If given the opportunity. I mean, I feel like we just tag in the biker mice from Mars at this point in time and be like, they got this. We are not necessary. But the problem. I think the problem here is, particularly if we talk DC, the team is there. It's already assembled. It's done. I mean, arguably, if we did Marvel, it's the same. But
Marvel, they all have their issues.
Ooh,
and I get that not everything's happy in DC all the time either. But Iron Man, Captain America, they're always fighting each other. Guys are villains one moment, and then all of a sudden, Venom's the best friend to everyone, and.
Well, I mean, the other half of this, right, is I can assemble a team to save. If we could do this Suicide Squad version, like Skeletor, Darkseid, like let's get silly. Who else do you want to chuck in there? Thanos.
There's so many options.
Galactus, done. Regards.
Galactus with a bomb in his head.
Don't make me do it.
All right. Next question. It's not really a question. Is tell us your thoughts on potato.
I mean, how long do we got? We boil and mash them, stick them in a stew. Absolutely. Is there a bad way to cook a potato?
Look, I'm not a fan of potato. No, I just said that to.
This will be the final episode of.
I said that to irritate the person that asked. I do believe that we answered this last question episode. I'm pretty sure we gave our thoughts on potato already.
Yeah. And I mean, the only way to improve what is invariably perfection is to add a previous question in there: cheese.
Yep. Cheese, baked potatoes, melted butter, cheese, salt, pepper, herbs, gravy.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, we did good ones the other night. It was just like a bolognese type deal. It was great on baked potatoes. It was the best. But things that bring me joy from my childhood is being allowed to scrape the edge of the pan after like mum's cooked scallop potatoes. That little baked bit that sticks to the edge. Is there anything better in life?
Obviously not. What hobby goals are you currently working on?
Oh, fuck.
I know. I think we've both talked definitely on podcasts and even more so out of podcasts, but about how motivation has been non-existent currently. My life has been interesting, so hobby has not been the first thing that I've gone to get away from all of that. We're both working on Paint It Brown. That's something.
That is definitely a thing that is happening.
In fact, I think I've gotten to the point where I'm finished my Paint It Brown with, even though we've got 4 weeks left in the competition.
Oh shit! I got time.
You got time.
That's dangerous.
I can do something else, but so I've been working on Glart Smash Rip. I think that's his name. The anorexic rat for Blood Bowl. And just been having a bit of fun with him and contrast paints and then layering up over the top. And he's come out quite nicely. I'm quite happy with him. So I've more or less done him. I might do a bit more touch-ups, but I've also done very quickly the Bloodspawn for Blood Bowl as well. But that was just in my corn style, which is black, dry brush grey, dry brush white, add blood to base, add transfer, done. So that was all of a night. I don't know. I've got motivation hasn't been there, but I am trying to get more done. My lizards are half done. I have a beautiful set of Alice in Wonderland models, which are assembled pretty much. The only thing I haven't really done is stick the 2 halves of the mushroom together, because I know I'll need to play around with some green stuff or something on that. So I've got those to undercoat and do, but I want to take my time with those. So maybe not the best time to be doing that. I have also undercoated today Squirrel Girl and Gwenpool, because I did pick them up.
They're glorious. And the little squirrel on top of her shoulder.
Yes, it's just so cute. And the fact that again, Jeff the land shark is like a separate piece. So he is currently, you're not even going to be able to see that.
But he's still separate. There he is.
Yeah. I'm going to find a base to put him on, and I'll have him on his own base, because I did ask a question in a Marvel chat going, there's not actually any rules for him, so do I need to keep him on her base? Because I don't want to. I want my own Jeff.
I mean, he could have absolutely zero game effect and nobody cares, because he's just kicking around doing stuff.
Exactly.
I love it.
But yeah, so hobby goals is pretty much to do more.
I think,
more done.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel like partly my motivation to get stuff done has been affected by the number of projects currently in flight and in view.
Yep.
So if I look around, and we just list. So there is my Paint It Brown piece. There's a Loot Studios bust that I'm doing as part of a bit of a just paint-a-thon or sort of, monthly paint thing as well. So I'm killing multiple birds with a stone there. But I've also got the bloody mouse riding a sparrow I printed a while ago that I've got earmarked for this that maybe we'll get to. We'll see. But it's sitting up behind me. But then there's the other half of the Witch Hunter Halfling Mordheim Warband that's looking at me, including an ogre that is very pretty that I need to do.
Have you got more Mordheim on the horizon?
There's nothing planned, which is upsetting.
Okay.
So there needs to be, is the moral of the story. Which is what I would honestly need to keep plugging away at these guys
Mhm.
because it kind of all stalled. I'm not 100% sure what, but that happened. I did get the Zinch half of the latest
You
Underworlds.
did, yes. And they were really easy to put together, right?
I've assembled 2, and then I swore a lot and threw the sprue. It's fine, but I've assembled 2. And I will require significant more motivation to assemble the rest because you kind of have to thread needles to put this shit together. It's like there's 2 bits, and if you just put them together, it doesn't work. You've got to put this bit over here, but under there, but around here, and it wraps around. It's fucking silly. Whoever cut these, anywho, so that's why I stopped on those ones. I've also got sitting here looking at me, the Grebo human dog team
Mm-hmm.
that I got not that long ago.
I was that's the Cutamall one you're
Yes.
talking about. I was on their website the other day, and the bats are gone. There's only one bat,
Mm.
and
This
that
is-
intrigues me. But that was the one I was really wanting.
but also, I think everyone's preempting a vampire release at some point. So
At some point, when
we'll see.
GW eventually, within the next 5 years, announces its next team,
Mhm.
rumor is that it's going to be vampires. But
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll
for
see.
fuck's sake, it's
I
been a
know.
year since we've had a team release.
Yeah, it's fucking irritating because I've also got my Underworlds team, which is half done,
Mhm.
which is my current 11s league team, which is still very much half done. I have my Amazons, which is probably my next team sitting here. I have the Grebo Slan team that I assembled not that long ago with plans to take them to a tournament that I'm not going to, or if I am going to, I don't know when it is. So they're currently sitting assembled and not done. Look, there's other things, but that's probably not important for Blood Bowl. There is also at least one other bust I have started and put down in that cozy. I started a while ago and I haven't continued with. She's looking at me, judging me. I've spent a significant amount of time. Yeah, well, fair. I've also spent a significant amount of time. So there was Throw the Dice announced a Warhammer 6th edition day, and a couple of my friends unrelated got a little bit excited about the game at the same time. And I pulled an old project I had sitting in the cupboard out and have done a bunch more work on my Corn allied orcs. So they are also currently sitting on the desk around me, and there are boxes of sprues and things amongst my feet. Like, no, there are boxes around me at the moment. I can hardly move. So I've been doing some work on them. So they're also sitting out there, and then fuck knows what else. If we do a quick scan of the desk, there is some burrows and badges. There is a kill team force. There is some War Master.
Yeah, I don't want to look around too much too, because I'm the same. I've got those Alice models. I've got Gwenpool, Squirrel Girl, Domino, Boba Fett, Darth Vader. There's my Skaven Underworlds team. There's the Lizardman team. There's the Undead team, Necro team. There's a lot of things that I would like.
Yeah. Even just like little things like the piece I did recently at the painting class I attended, I just need to get like a plinth for or something to stick onto.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's sitting there waiting for something to stick onto. Like there's so many little things. And then there's the pieces like Alice that are sitting in the cupboard going, you're not ready. You can't paint me yet.
Yeah, no, I do not want to touch Alice just yet. Like that cat is just insanely cool, and I need to be able to blend before I even attempt that. Yes, I know. You and your giant head.
Giant cat head. So yeah, no, there is just far too much literally judging me. I started rebasing stuff for King's War not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that is still partially done. There's just a stack of bases sitting here. And I realized there's a couple of pieces there I said I paid for someone else that I haven't done. And that was a while ago. Ugh.
So there's a bit.
Yeah, there's lots,
Mm.
and that's been half of the problem. Is I actually just need to clean up and pull out one project at a time, so I'm not surrounded by judgment.
Yep, that's fair. In a similar vein, what hobby idea is intimidating you, but you really want to give it a go? I mean, you've pretty much tried everything, haven't you?
I mean, in hobby, um, there's I don't know if it's ideas. I mean, I've got a couple of pieces that I'm mildly shitting myself about. So, Kings of War, if we go back to that really quickly, I have a plan of doing way too much resin pouring in that project that I haven't really done en masse before, and I have no idea how to actually manage it in multiple pieces with bases that size. But I think the biggest thing for me is A, just getting shit done, and then B, there's a few pieces that I've got because I really want to paint, and they're terrifying. So Cozy, as I said, I started doing base coats on, and now she's looking at me. There's a Wizard of Oz piece I've got sitting in the cupboard
Okay.
where it's gorgeous, and it's got the actual lion and the Tin Man kind of swinging an axe and whatnot. The whole little diorama thing that is gorgeous, and I'm terrified.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few of those. So I just need to get to them, but otherwise, it's just get shit done.
Yep. No, that's fair. I mean, for me, that Alice set is the most intimidating one. But also, I'd like to try OSL and try and do that. I was thinking, actually, as we were talking about it, maybe a small Blood Bowl team or Underworlds team or something, try and do like maybe some lava bases, and then OSL from the bottom so that they're dark at the top. I don't know. I reckon that could be quite cool and could be a decent first attempt. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's just an idea I had off the top of my head as we're speaking.
Yeah, I reckon there's probably also a piece there where I've done a lot of like non-metallic metal as an idea, but I've done a lot of it passes as non-metallic metal. It doesn't pass as it doesn't read as metallic. It passes as non-metallic metal paint scheme, I suppose. And the more you kind of dig into some of the really good artists, the actual technique isn't the issue. It's just knowing where to put things.
Okay.
Which is the hard bit. And I think so. There's that, and two, actually three things. Two is micro texture. So I've seen a couple of amazing pieces recently, and over the last sort of 12 months, where they've done things like they've painted on sweat beads.
Okay.
And it was something like that. Or they've done the one that blew my mind is some overly talented jerk did a knitted jumper on just a flat surface, and it reads as a knitted jumper. So I think, I've seen a few artists really focus on kind of those micro textures and getting that right. And then the third one is actually kind of more an impressionistic piece around sketching and just, unusual colors and using. So, I mean, going on the other end of the spectrum, not making things really tight and precise and perfect, and actually just going for overall effect over, which is, again, it's more concept than technique. And I think that's the hardest part.
Okay. I think that's all pretty fair. Excuse me. All right. Moving on. Alien or Predator?
Predator. They actually have personality.
Yep. No, that's fair. I would say both, but just do it better. Especially if you're putting both of them together, do it better.
Yeah, I think my whole issue with Alien as a concept is the fact that it seems like mindless monster from space. Like,
And it's completely ripped off from the Gene Stealers in 40K.
absolutely, like get an original idea, but like I just want a little bit more. I need a reason to like the bad guys,
Yep.
and I feel like
Gotcha.
you get that in Predator.
Mhm. Is there a comic book / comic storyline you want to see on the big screen that hasn't been done or done well before?
This is your question.
It kind of is, isn't it? Saga. Saga is my go-to. So it is basically Romeo and Juliet in space. Kind
Sure.
of.
Yep.
It's it's an interesting story. It's basically there's this planet and its moon, and for years and years and years, the residents of the planet, and I'm going to have to guess which one's which because I always forget. There's people who have wings,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's people who can do magic. One of them lives on the moon, one of them lives on the planet, and they're constantly at war.
Fair.
And they've worked out that if one of them wins, it's going to end up in the destruction of either the planet or the moon, which will completely destroy the other one. So they've outsourced this war. And so the war's like reaching out into space with all sorts of different people getting involved. And a guard from the winged race, she is looking out for after a prisoner from the magic race, and they fall in love over their combined love of a really stupid romantic author, and fall in love and have a kid and escape, and they're basically on the run. It's kind of it in a nutshell, but it's their story, and it's just beautifully done. It's a wonderful, wonderful story, and that would take some doing, but I reckon it would be amazing.
I think it's always really hard to do a story when nothing is grounded in reality. So we're talking space, we're talking, just normalizing the concept of a race with wings is tricky.
Yep.
There's a
Like,
lot of
there's
stuff.
no humans in this story.
Yeah.
Not
And
really. Yeah.
and I feel like that's always hard to sell on the big screen because it's hard. I feel like any kind of written medium immediately suspends disbelief better than a visual one.
Yes. Yeah. I think yeah, Saga is probably one of those things that you'd have to at least start off animated. Otherwise, I mean, there's been some really good attempts at some really good comic series recently. So Sweet Tooth, for example, is I haven't watched season 2 yet, but season 1 was fantastic. On the other side of that, Why the Last Man, they did a series of that, which it got canned after the first season, and I think I only watched 1 or 2 episodes, and it didn't grab me because the comic's fantastic. I'd like to see Dark Knight Metal. So Batman Who Laughs, all the weird, crazy, evil Batman. I'd like to see that. That would be cool. And part of me wants to see Crossed, which is zombie apocalypse, but not zombies, and up a couple of levels.
I'm taking this question a little bit to the left, but the other thing I think would be crazy to see in a live action form is basically anything by Terry Pratchett.
Yep.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's kind of this, how do you do a high fantasy Monty Python thing and sell it? I don't know.
Yep. I mean, you're branching out as well. I've recently reread the Rift War saga. So Raymond Feist, the Magician, Silverthorn, Darkness at Sethanon, because there is a TV show of that coming out. I'm itching to see if they can do it right, because I mean, I don't know when it'll happen. Sandman series season 2 is not coming for a while because of the writer's strike. So we'll wait and see what eventually gets to us.
Yeah. On the whole, I mean, Game of Thrones is a concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they could go back and find a series that was finished and give it the Game of Thrones treatment,
Yeah, let's do that.
so we don't have to race. Like, I feel like
Yep.
pick pretty much anything and give it that treatment, but work with a base.
Have an ending.
Yeah.
All right. Dream Lego set.
I mean,
Is it-
fuck.
Is this one more directed at me?
Is
too?
it is, but are we dealing with reality or like, are we, as in existing Lego sets?
But whatever.
Or are we just doing
Either
it?
is fine.
I would like this in Lego form. Fuck. I would like.
That would be interesting in Lego form.
Yeah, but edges, like it's tricky. No, I would really like the stage in Spinal Tap with Stonehenge.
Okay. Yep. Fair. For me, like the AT-AT or the Millennium Falcon, the big ones, the expensive Lego sets that they've done, they are a dream that is not going to get realized, but they are a dream for sure. The other one that I just noticed it the other day, they've done like a working lighthouse, which looks amazing. You know, with the light up brick and all the rest of it. So, yeah, I don't know. There's always Lego. It's whether there's space for Lego. That's the question.
This is the problem, because these are things, again, you do and then you need to display.
Yes, because you can't just pack it up and put it away.
Can you just put the Millennium, just the Millennium Falcon's taking up a little bit of space. Can you just put that back in the box?
No, it doesn't work like that. Shall we take a bit of a break and then we'll come back and ask some more questions?
Let's do that. So,
for a white guy. He needs some cool true shots, just and he wants to fight. But they didn't have ice cube, so he bought vanilla ice. Now cruising in his Pinto, he sees homies as he pass. But if he looks strike, they're gonna kick his silly ass. So don't you afraid, a player straight. You know he really doesn't get it anyway. He's gonna play the field and keep it real. For you, no way, for you, no way. So if you don't play, just overcompensate. At least that you know you can always go originate. The world needs one of these, so hey, do that brand new thing.
and after that brief intermission, we have returned.
And we are back with more questions. So, if you... I'm assuming it's meaning you, Jace. Jace, so if you were traveling in a spaceship at the speed of light
Mm-hmm.
and you turned on the headlights, is
Yes.
it brighter in front of you?
Where this gets tricky. What if we're traveling backwards?
Okay, and you turn on the headlights, it would be definitely brighter in front of you,
Would it be?
but you're going backwards.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say yes.
I mean, if you turned on the headlights and you're traveling faster than the speed of light,
If
you
you're
would-
traveling faster, it would not
Yeah.
get.
if you're traveling at, it would just be, there would just be like a wall of light and then nothing in front, but it would still be brighter in front. Yes. You would need to go faster, but also I think we just put it in reverse and really confuse everyone.
And are you putting the headlights on or are you putting the reverse lights on?
The headlights are on, but we're backwards, so which means they're behind us. But that's actually the front.
It's still the front, even though we're not heading that way.
I don't know. Then it's definitely brighter in front of us, even though in front of us is actually behind. Anyhow,
Anywhere that we're not is probably brighter. Let's put it that way. What's the best?
There is the answer. As long as we're not talking about actual illumination, we're talking about relative intelligence, then
Yep. Oh, that's what I was getting at.
The emptiness of space is definitely brighter.
So what's the best tasting paint?
I have strong opinions that the Scale 75 Scale Color Artist range is the best tasting hobby paint. The only downside is occasionally they use actual pigments that I don't think you're supposed to eat, but it's still, whatever they put in it is delicious.
All right. That's fair. I'm just going to say blood for the blood god.
That's not even a paint though. That's just...
It's a paint. I use it on everything. What's the worst tasting paint?
Ooh, there's a couple of real contenders. There's a few of the contrasts that are not good. There's a few of the washes or the shades, whatever they're called, that are not good at all.
I don't like many of the contrasts. I don't think contrast at all, like in general, is a good tasting paint.
No, it's not a no. What else don't I like the taste of? I mean, there's the obvious ones. The Vallejo metal color that actually contains metal pigment. Don't eat that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a taste thing. That's more of a public safety thing. None of the oils. None of them taste good. Again, probably don't eat those.
I haven't tried any of like the texture paints. I haven't tried eating those.
No, I've managed to avoid
crackle
those.
ones.
Yeah, no, I've managed to avoid those. Chimera aren't good. They're not great. But no, I think contrast. I think that any of those kind of speed painty contrast paint ranges are generally pretty bad.
Yeah. All right. Got me there. What's the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Again, pretty sure we answered this last episode.
I'm relatively sure we did, and I'm still not sure whether they've qualified, whether it's African or European.
Mm-hmm. Fuck, marry, kill. Nurgle bloater, renegade troll, halfling hefty.
Wait, hang on. Nurgle bloater.
Yep.
Halfling hefty.
Renegade troll.
Renegade troll.
Is that the vomiting one?
I mean, they're all vomiting ones.
Okay, cool.
I had... So, I feel like you want to marry the hefty, right? In that you have a lifetime of delicious meals ahead of you.
Okay.
That's just a thing. I feel like the halfling race is a race that's aimed to please. They're hospitable. They're lovely to be around. So if you're going to choose any one of those three for life, it's the halfling. Which leaves the unfortunate scenario. I mean, you're less likely to catch something from a troll. No, wait, this depends. Giving or receiving?
Wasn't qualified. It wasn't,
okay, good.
Yeah. Specified.
Look, as long as I get to be the big spoon, I think it's the troll. I mean, it might be a little bit of a hot dog down a hallway situation, but you're less likely to come away with something. Just
more cushion for the pushing.
I mean, a bloater's probably relatively cushionous.
I think it'd be interesting to fuck the bloater. I mean like there's not just one hole.
You don't have to go for a hole. Like you make your own. Swiss cheese that.
I would go. Yes, marry the troll, kill the halfling. Because I figured the halfling's easier to kill.
Fair. I mean, there's no regeneration to deal with. There's no.
Anyway, tell us some of your favorite Blood Bowl playing stories.
I
Any?
mean,
Name a game?
yeah. Blood Bowl is one of those games where the most ridiculous things make for the most fun things, right? I will, for anyone who missed it, there was a moment the other night, even. So this is not even with me going back to things like old 11 seasons finals and me thinking I was perfectly safe stalling for a turn for
Against
a
the dark elf that jumped in.
A renegade dark elf that did so many things that should never have been possible. And that's when I learned not to stall.
No.
But speaking of embracing the spirit of the game and when things work, like me playing Alice the other day, I was on my turn 8, so there's one chance to score, and I had played the thrown goblin card, right? The goblin didn't scatter far enough. I could not make it to the end zone with said goblin. After the handoff to the goblin worked, so the pickup worked, the handoff to the goblin worked, the troll throw worked, the goblin stuck the landing in a tackle zone, dodged out, picked up a ball in another tackle zone, dodged out, and then realized that I couldn't make the end zone. Alice, in true Blood Bowl form, went, but you could go for it. And I said, yeah, but I've only got 2 go for it, so I'm 3 squares away. She goes, yeah, go for it. And so I did, and I made the go for it. And then I made the second go for it. And then she proceeded to blitz the goblin.
Yes.
Got a pow and a push, and chose the push.
That's a very Alice move.
It's such an Alice move. It was ridiculous, and it didn't actually change the end result of the game. But I mean, it was just one of those moments that was everything. I think that's the thing I love about Blood Bowl is I couldn't make that touchdown, which is exactly why every single thing that led up until then I managed to roll and I managed to pass, because if I could have made that touchdown, there was not a chance in hell. The troll would have eaten a goblin and we would have been all over.
A second go for it wouldn't have worked. Yeah. Oh, look, I've told my story about my rot spawn before, how I was teaching Mal how to play Blood Bowl, and it's like his first game, and he said, okay, well, I'm going to hit this rot spawn with my dwarf. I'm like, well, you could do that, but it's a 2 dice uphill block. But if you just move this guy, and you can get it down to 1 dice, maybe even 2. He's like, nah, I've said it, I'll do it. Proceeded to roll a dice, got double pow, knocked the rot spawn down, and then proceeded to kill him. And I love that moment.
It is such a new player thing for that to happen to. Like,
Yes.
if you had have played a handful of games before that, never in hell are you rolling that dice. The other one, on a very similar note, a good friend of mine who's played a lot of Blood Bowl, playing in the very first league that we'd played in like forever. It had been 10 years between leagues kind of deal. And he took a Chaos team and he took the Minotaur. And this is previous edition Blood Bowl.
Yep.
And the very first game, he puts the Minotaur on the line of scrimmage, and we do the whole thing. We roll the kickoff result, and it's a thrown rock. And he loses the roll, and then it randomizes to the Minotaur, and the rock kills the Minotaur before game 1 of the league had started.
Yep. It's almost guaranteed, isn't it?
Oh, it's just, Yeah. So it's A, when things go wrong, and then B, when things that should never go right go right.
Yes,
And
totally agree.
we'll just name
The-
every elf team.
Look, I still remember, like, first league we did, the grand final against Elves
Mhm.
went into overtime
As it should.
because he had two Elves left on the pitch. One was down my end, one was down his end where the ball was near. Proceeded to pick up the ball with his elf, throw the ball to the other elf who was within scoring range. And I had just thrown three guys with disturbing presence close to him. So -3 to the roll. He needed a five to catch it and got a 4. And we went into overtime. I won the kickoff. And he now had 4 elves. So he had to put 3 on the line of scrimmage. He put them all together. I stuck the rot spawn right next to them with tentacles, and then just had to deal with one elf before.
They all stayed. Yeah.
Yes, they didn't move. But yeah, going back to our one that where you were stalling, had a similar incident way back when in the Melbourne Blood Bowl League, and a lot of those guys are playing seriously. They're playing to win. I was 1-0 down. I was playing Orcs because just getting back into it. I was playing against Khorne. A bloodletter with the ball decided to stall. I blitzed, managed to push him off the field. The ball scattered in between like 2 of his guys. I ran an Orc thrower in, picked up the ball in 2 tackle zones, dodged out, threw the ball, caught the ball, scored to draw the game, and he just looked at me. I was like, none of those dice rolls should have worked. I think the catcher wasn't a catcher because it was an Orc team, but the guy that caught the ball, I think, was standing next to somebody as well.
Yeah.
So it was like, this needs 5+, 5+, 6+, something like that. And everything came up roses. So it's those ones where nothing should work, but all of it does. Or something goes horribly wrong. You're quite right. It's just any game of Blood Bowl can have that. And that's the great thing about this game.
Yeah.
What are some of your other gaming experience anecdotes?
If we're talking in-game experiences, I mean, I feel like I am one of those people that learn things in-game much better than I learn things out of game.
Mhm.
So for a long time back in my old sort of Warhammer Fantasy and even my Malifaux days, where we're talking about things like battle reports on Wargamer AU and things like that, all of my reports would be blah, 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 this happened and this is here. And then after the game, I realized X, Y, and Z, and it completely changes what's going on. So there's a lot of that going on, I suppose. The ones I fall back on are my first ever Warhammer Fantasy tournament, my first ever tournament for anything.
Mhm.
I went in with an army that I was painting in the hotel room the night before, still, because I was determined to get it all done. I lost every single game. I lost every single game of the next tournament I went to. I think I won 1 game of the following tournament I went to. So, if we're talking 6-game tournaments, because that's what we did, that's 1 out of 18.
That's pretty good.
That was, but that day I met some people that I'd never met before, and we ended up back at someone's hotel room, and we played. Someone had brought their bloody Nintendo, and we were playing Super Smash Brothers at 1 a.m. drunk as skunks. Yeah, and that was kind of my introduction to tournament gaming. And from then, there was a fairly large group of us that attended regularly and would book accommodation together. And they are some of the messiest weekends I have ever been to. The other one is we used to host a Warhammer Fantasy tournament in Geelong, and I used to evict my wife, who was not my wife at the time, but I used to evict her from the house we were living in because I would invite the tournament back. And this is, 50, 80 player tournament. come back. We'll get some beers and some dinner and some pizza, and we'll just play games and we'll do stupid shit and crash if you want. I don't care. And oh my God, the messiest nights. It was so good. We invented the game of beer ball. I should introduce someone to that, but it basically is a terrifying game that involved dice and effectively the basketball game or the game of like around the world or donkey, where you have to shoot the ball from each of the points on the board. So we made a board for this, right? And then the whole idea was to get the first one, you had to roll a 2+, and then you go to the next spot and you have to roll a 3+, and blah, 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 and all the way around the board. And then you get to 7. So you got to roll 2 dice and you've got to get, whatever. If you make the shot, you make someone else drink. And if you miss the shot, you drink.
Okay.
And that ended up with me nearly dying on multiple occasions. There was look, we got expanded rules at one point. There was an expansion we designed that involved a miscast table. And then, so if you roll double ones, bad things happened. And then we brought in the miscaster, which was like a shot dispenser, but it was like it had multiple bottles and you spun it. And whatever it landed on is what you took a shot of, and we filled it with horrible things. And then there were the horns of immunity. So they couldn't make you drink if you won the horns of immunity. And then there was the coat hanger of shame, because that was the only thing we could find in the hotel room. And if you had to wear the coat hanger of shame, which you had to wear on your head, you doubled any of the drinks that you had. So, yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, these were the kind of weekends that we had playing games. So there was some in-game stuff that was great. Things happened. And then there was the actual tournament that happened between evenings. And, oh, my God.
Whether you remember any of the tournament or not.
I remember the time that somebody threw up everywhere. Oh, a hotel room.
Mm-hmm. So not at the tournament.
So not at the tournament. At the hotel room after. We've all gone to bed, woke up, threw up all over the whatever they were sleeping on, and then proceeded to throw up on the way to the bathroom, and then threw up in the bathroom, and then eventually threw up in the toilet, and then panicked in their still very drunk state. So got the towels from the bathroom, all of them, and proceeded to clean or attempt to clean, and then didn't know what to do, and so tried to flush them.
The towels?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And then went back to bed. And somebody the next morning woke up before me, thankfully, and tried to go to the bathroom and then had to fish.
Oh, no.
There were these moments. But, young and stupid, and I would literally die if I tried that now.
All right. I don't think I've done many tournaments in my life, so I don't have any of those stories.
It's probably for the best.
Probably. I did do a couple of trading card game tournaments. So I did fly over to Adelaide for the World Championship of the Raw Deal CCG, which was a wrestling one. So I had a lot of fun over there, made some friends. That was a fun but also volatile crowd that, some of them were not overly fond of losing. I did play the Warhammer 40k card game for a long time, and until they changed it to the Horus Heresy card game, because that was one of those games where every deck was broken. It was just who broke first.
Yep.
Right. But I had built this chaos deck because chaos, right? But I had built it and built it well. And I think after 3 tournaments where I hadn't lost a game, they gave me the trophy and said, "Hey, do you mind playing something else next time?" I'm like, "Yeah, no worries." Took a Tyranid deck the next tournament and didn't lose a game then either. But so card game tournaments, I've done a few, but miniatures tournaments, I haven't done many. I've now that we've been doing TCG and stuff, I've hosted more tournaments than I've been to. but I mean, something that does stick out in my mind too is way back when I was 13, 14, living in England, living close to GW when all these games were coming out. We used to play Blood Bowl at lunchtime at school, not with the board and the miniatures, but with a football and us running at each other as fast as possible. But we also tried everything. We tried all of the games. We had various little miniatures for each thing. And when we played games of Epic, there was always a squat. I think I've still got the model. There was this tiny little squat who would just wander across the battlefield, no matter what was going on, and like he would be on top of a building, and he was just always there. I think his name was Fred from memory.
Appropriate.
Yep. Anyway, as tournament organizers, what flavor / brand deodorant do you keep on hand just in case? I mean, it shouldn't be up to us.
No, but
I know. Yeah.
it absolutely is. Let's be honest, and any good tournament organizer will tell you that it is worth just bringing an extra can. And look, I fully recommend literally anything better than nothing. I mean, if all you can find is Mortine, that will do. But Rexona do a lot of sporting type things and extra strength, and so that's always a go-to. Look, anything with XXX strength on the can, super active. It seems contradictory, but appropriate.
We want active where active is not. Yep, that makes sense.
Or
cool.
Old Spice, because Old Spice is always good.
Yeah, I mean, I've always got Lynx Africa just in case. That's just a stock standard.
Classic.
Yeah. Which rule from previous Blood Bowl editions would you like to see make a comeback?
Throw a rock. Just the kickoff event.
Does Throw a Rock not exist anymore?
No, it doesn't.
Serious?
Because now it's there's a ref one where you can be stunned or you get sent off for the game, but you don't die.
Gotcha. All right.
I feel like they've done a number of things in this game that just lessen the effect. It keeps the same flavor without some of the brutality. And frankly, I'm all for the brutality. So sign me the hell up.
I don't know. Like, I'm okay. I enjoy this edition. I enjoy all the new things they've added. All the things like passing and stuff like that, passing stats. I honestly can't remember the old editions, but what I would like is more Mega Bowl. 4-player Blood Bowl.
Yes. Yep.
It was so easy to do with the old 2nd edition polystyrene boards. Now we need to make up a board especially.
I will say things that they introduced in the latest edition that I do really like is the no limit to 1 reroll a turn. I really appreciate that concept of making it a resource that you have to manage, not one that is managed for you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think I didn't like the sound of it when I first heard about it, but in practice, it's a much better way of doing it.
It's great.
Yeah, you're still limited. You can't reroll, so it's not like you're wasting 6 rerolls just to...
And then you have that moment where you're like, this is really important, and you've burnt 3 rerolls in a turn, you don't have any left, and then you're just like, well, now sucks to be you.
Yeah.
I think my only issue with the current state, as much as I like the progression system, it's bloody confusing.
Yep. There's the whole random skills versus
Yeah, I just think it makes it more confusing about who can get what when. I like the skill trees now. I like most of it, but it's just that's the bit that confuses me the most.
Yeah. Which rules are you glad to see the back of?
I mean, not throw a rock. Sign me up for that one. Now that I've played it, as I said, the reroll restriction. I'm glad to see the back of.
Yep.
Claw and Mighty Blow. Claw, Mighty Blow, power piling on.
Yep.
That combo, I'm glad to see the end of that. As much as I used to use it and abuse it, except for the piling on bit, I never really got into that.
That was constant, and it was everyone did it.
Yeah,
I
and
did
was
it,
just
but
absolutely.
it was just you
But
knew
just-
it was coming.
Yeah. So yeah, the fact that you can't stack Claw or Mighty Blow now, I think, was a huge shift in the right direction. Because I also think the shift to a passing stat balances out that, because they say, all right, well, that then shifts the weight of favour to the edge teams, but the edge teams only have one passer now.
Yep.
So yeah, it kind of keeps it in check. What else?
Way back in second ed, pretty much everybody had animosity to everybody else.
I'm already sick of animosity only because I can never remember it.
So, but that was a thing for everyone. So I'm glad that's gone.
Mhm.
Trying to remember, there was an old stat, whether it was first edition or second edition, a cool stat, and I can't remember what that was used for. It was like doing things under pressure or something. No, I'm pretty happy with the state of things as they are.
Yeah. Even if I still need the throw teammate flowchart.
Yes, I need that. I need the bloody passing template because I haven't been passing in my life, and now that I've done it a few times, I still need to work out exactly what's going on.
That whole you modify the dice roll thing confuses me every single time. I get there, but anyway.
Are dwarves OP?
No, they're just boring.
That was exactly my answer. They're not OP. They're just dull.
It just doesn't make for a fun game.
I've played dwarves and I've played against dwarves, and both sides of the coin are just, it's the same game over and over again, and it's just a bit dull. All right, which Middle Earth creature type would you be? In brackets, there are quizzes to find out. I'm an Ent.
I mean, are we supposed to have done the quiz or are doing the quiz?
I don't know. I think for you, it's probably what would you be based on your personality. I did the quiz, and I'm apparently a hobbit. I don't agree with it, but whatever. Are you doing the quiz now?
I'm absolutely doing the quiz now. Which Middle Earth race are you? Sure. Let's do this.
All right. Live.
Your friend is in a real tight pinch. How do you help him out? I'd negotiate. I'd be there with him. He got into his mouse, so his problem. I would... Look, let's go negotiate. What's for dinner? Burger and fries. You're a few dollars short of the new thing you want. How do you get the money? Borrow from... Ask my family. I'm going to say borrow from a friend, which is really steal from my other account. I'm not supposed to touch. What clothes do you like to wear? Can I just say birthday suit? War is coming. How many questions does this have? This is too much.
That's the same one I did, and it's not very many.
Oh, good. How do I respond to war coming?
Roll over and go to sleep.
Strategize. Perhaps we can avoid. No. I prepare by gathering able fighters and keeping the weak safe. Sure. Look, that'll do. And by safe, I mean actually creating Operation Human Shield. Time to throw a party. Why are we celebrating? Oh, do we have to like people? No. Look, let's just no. No is an option. Good. What do you like to do in your free time? Sit around. I don't know. Maybe do something. I could just take a nap though. Great. Ooh, calculating results. I'm an orc.
Cool. All right, we've got an orc and a hobbit and an Ent in the Discord. Would you fight with an axe, a sword, a bow and arrow, or something else?
I mean, none of those options are as cool as nunchucks.
Well, there you go. That's an answer. I've always wanted to fight to know how to use a sword. I'd love to be able to swing a sword properly, or a lightsaber. It's kind of the same thing.
which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Look, I also feel like any kind of long weapon, like a spear, is an underrated weapon.
Mhm.
People get very, axe, sword, and things like that. But I want to stand over there and still stab you.
Fair. Who is your fashion inspiration?
That implies a level of inspiredness that is not necessarily the case.
It also implies a level of fashion, doesn't it?
I mean, they didn't say good fashion, but I mean, shit. Actually, that bit in Zoolander when they're doing the catwalk and it's like, here's the new season of Derelict.
Derelict. Yes, done. Brett, I suppose this one's for me. May I please braid bells and charms into your beard? Sure. I think this question comes from a conversation that we had, but when I was younger and actually had hair and had long hair, had it braided and with bells in it. And my God, that was a good way to meet chicks. Anyway, if you could go anywhere in the world tomorrow, where?
Canada.
Sure.
I mean, firstly, it's going to be going into summer, so it's going to be nice weather. 2, possibly the friendliest people on the face of the planet. 3rd,
Correct.
French cuisine.
Yep. That's fair. I'd like to go to Egypt. I've always wanted to go to Egypt for the experience, but to relax, I think somewhere like the Maldives.
Also good. Just, anywhere where a beach. So our honeymoon was on a Fijian island where there were no children allowed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Literally anywhere that fits that description is fine by me.
Somewhere with a beach and a pool and a bar in the pool. That's what I want.
And no children allowed.
And no children. If you could time travel, when would you go to?
I feel like there was a whole sort of 60s, 70s musical renaissance that I would have liked to experience. Like, sign me up for Woodstocks and things. Like, I want to have seen the Beatles. That would have been bullshit crazy. So I feel like there's kind of there's a period in there with Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and all that kind of stuff. Then,
all right. I think I'd want to go to the future because I think there's so much that we don't know and that we have no idea about, and we've come so far since the Middle Ages or whatever, but we're still very dumb.
Yes, but you assume that society has evolved in the future.
Well, that's the thing. Is it,
you could just end there as just nothing.
Well, I thought of that, and I thought that was probably a very viable scenario. In which case, whatever.
I just find a beach and there's no kids.
You could also end up in, I don't know if you've seen Idiocracy.
I don't know if I've seen it.
It's a film, and I can't find it on any streaming platforms these days, but it was done by the guys who wrote Beavis and Butthead. Mm-hmm. And it's basically, the premise is some guy volunteers for like a cryogenic experiment and gets left and forgotten and wakes up like hundreds of years later. And the basic premise is, that smart people are very smart and are very busy, and dumb people tend to breed a lot more.
I mean, that's like normal life.
Yes. So hundreds of years later, there's not many smart people left. He wakes up the smartest man on the world.
Well, that's terrifying.
Death by breeding. Yeah, it could be something like that. All right.
I'm staying in the past.
How are you? It's a very loaded question.
I mean, which begs the question, what and why am I? I mean, I am because I think I am. Is that how I am?
I'm just going to say, it's been an interesting time. It's part of the reason why the podcasts have been a bit fewer and far between. I've said this before. That's fine. And if people need to chat, if anything's going on that people are struggling with, by all means, reach out. But there are things that have been going on in my life, but at the same time, there are far more important things going on in other people's lives, and thoughts are with them.
Mm-hmm.
What's a game you've been waiting to play with your kids?
I mean, I am living in a world where I'm like, how do you introduce some kind of tabletop? Like, how does that start? I don't know. Yeah, even something like the kids go bonkers over the Marvel United stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just they don't the game, they don't care. They just
Yeah.
want to look at the little things and kind of play with them like action figures. And I'm like, how do we get next step?
I always thought, I think Funkoverse, the Funko game, is actually a good intro to the style of wargaming. I pretty much had Funkoverse, Blood Bowl, Marvel United on my list. So,
look, if I think way back when, before I knew about war games, I've got really fond memories of playing things like even Othello as a really simple concept.
I loved Othello.
It was a great game. I played so much of that. And then the other one, was it called bloody Mastermind or something, where it was, you had to get
the colours, the four.
The pegs. Like stuff like that. I played so much of that as a kid. And I'm really hoping that, kids are going to be interested enough to want to do that kind of stuff when they get a little bit older.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. Forest, beach, or city?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
In that all of the above have things I like, in that convenience is the way that I choose to live my life. So when we say forest, I am zero interest in, wiping with a leaf, shitting in a hole kind of forest. As long as that forest has an ensuite, I'm interested.
Mm-hmm.
Same for beach. I want a bar. I want mojitos. I want no kids allowed. And then the city actually has stuff to do, which is also fun, and places to find amazing food. There's no bad.
Well, I don't know. There's aspects to each of them. City, you're right. It has lots of things to do. It also has lots of people.
I know they suck, but as long as it's a city I'm
older
not
I
familiar
get-
with, and I
Well,
I don't know them. The problem with being in a local city is you run into people who you have to make small talk with. No, not interested. Give me a city where I don't speak the fucking language. That's kind of where I'm at.
I don't know. The older I get, the less I like people. And the last time I went into Melbourne, when my friend was here from the States, I got very angry with those roads.
Oh yeah, don't drive.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no. Beach for me, beach for relaxation. I don't know. Maybe give me a little cabin in the forest to retire in, but still with an ensuite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And takeaway close enough that I don't have to cook every day. And
yes,
I'm not hunting or gathering. I want Uber Eats.
In the forest. It can be done. What nerdy name did you secretly want to name your kids?
I mean, how is it secret? I mean, I feel like, we all wish for Megatron. That's a thing.
From Family Guy. That was a long name, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Meg was short for Megatron.
For Megan. Who's Megan? No, not at all. No, I think I was relatively. We spent forever on boys' names. Girls' names, I had a list. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what I was doing with girls' names. I had a number that I was happy with. Boys' names was tricky. And even when we landed on Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a possibly post-birth discussion around whether it was appropriate to shorten a name to something that the name didn't start with. So could we go Finn instead of Griff?
Okay. Yep. No,
Of
that's a fair
which
question.
I make my own rules, and yes, you can.
Yeah, of course. That's the thing. I mean, you can basically call them what you want, and eventually they'll be old enough to say no.
I don't like that. We're doing something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's actually fascinating now that they've worked out that since birth we have called them by abbreviated, shortened names.
Mhm.
And Charlie's now old enough that she's like, she understands that she has what she refers to as her fancy name.
That's cute. I like that. Yeah, look, with my kids, I was keen on Khaleesi for Caitlin for a while.
I'm sorry, feel us.
I
Yeah.
know. Look, I was keen, but at the same time, however the show ended, I still liked the name.
It's a title.
But I was also I liked it as a name.
Yeah, I know.
But I was fine to lose that. That was fine. Caitlin was something. Her name came from a work colleague of mine that I met. She was a nice enough girl, but I loved the name, so I stole her name. I mean, Lucas can be shortened to Lukey, which is what he wants at the moment. He can also be short for Luke. So I got my Star Wars reference in. But for quite some time, he was almost going to be called Caius. I don't know if that's nerdy. I know there's a evil deity in D&D called Caius, but it was after the band. That's the way I was going.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you now. Which counts as a nerdy reference, right?
Yeah, exactly. Who will your next guest interviews be? I mean, we're taking suggestions. Always up for company.
Basically, A, we're up for company, and B, have something interesting to say.
Yes.
So think of things you would like to talk about on said podcast and pitch it to us.
If you have a topic that you want to hear and talk about, we will have you on. No questions.
Oh, there's some questions.
No questions. Okay, there's some questions. You're right.
Definitely some questions.
We have someone in mind that we'd like to get on, but whether circumstances prevail, that's another question. Which people would you love to interview for the podcast?
I mean, literally fucking anyone of consequence.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's so much going on in the hobby scene across the board, whether we start talking painters, whether we start talking, game developers, whether we start talking other podcasters and other sort of, content creators. Like, there's just so goddamn much. Like, how do you even... Yes is the answer. Because frankly, anything's more interesting than listening to us babble.
Well, absolutely correct. I would love to chat, whether it's on podcast or not, to like Jervis Johnson, who created Blood Bowl, or even someone from like Atomic Mass Games.
Yep.
Like with what they're doing with a number of games at the moment, I think that'd be really interesting. But literally anyone who's not us.
It's a low bar.
Yeah. All right. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
No.
Absolutely not. Stop it.
Deep Space Nine or Babylon 5?
I mean, can I just not?
Yeah, no is the answer to that.
Correct.
I've always been a Star Wars person. When will we hear more about the Smooth My Balls sponsorship? Now, this is a question for you.
When they get better products is the moral of the story. Because that sponsorship relies on an endorsement that I am not happy to give.
This is a question that's coming from George, and it's constantly coming from George. I love it. I love how dedicated he is to it. Yeah, he jumped on the stream tonight where I did the Patreon giveaway and the Blood Bowl team giveaway.
However,
Yeah.
if there are other grooming accessories that are willing to sponsor the show, I am happy to test. But again, you're getting an honest review.
Correct. But yeah, no, George jumped on the stream and straight away it's like, Brett, how the fuck are you? Blah 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 blah. And then the camera, I turned the camera on, and both my kids were standing there. He's like, I didn't know there'd be kids. But he still asked then. He asked about Smooth My Balls on the
I mean, it's
on
important.
the stream. Yeah. After your He-Man adventures, what other childhood cartoons / shows do you remember fondly?
Oh shit! Buckle up. So I mean, I feel like I grew up in a renaissance of early morning TV, right? And if we could bang and rattle on some, so I mean, Transformers classic,
Correct.
Thundercats, absolutely.
Correct.
But then we go Silverhawks, we go Brave Star, we go Battle of the Planets, we go Challenge of the GoBots. We go
GoBots.
Yeah, the whole Dungeons and Dragons cartoon series that they did.
Yes, I had that on my list.
Glorious.
That was amazing. They're doing. They've started putting out action figures, and I'm really, really tempted. But I feel like I should go back and watch it again just in case.
Oh, that's probably a mistake.
Probably a mistake.
Mask. How good was that? Oh, Ulysses 31.
Mm-hmm.
That was an underrated series. I could do this literally for days.
Voltron.
Yes.
Danger Mouse.
Somebody. Oh, I mean, Trapdoor. But I think the other thing here is not only was a renaissance of cartoon content specifically, particularly in the demographic I was in, but theme song. Like,
Yes.
when has there been a better time for cartoon theme songs?
Never.
There's actually, I watched not that long ago, there's a guy on YouTube who's like a jazz musician who does a breakdown of the Transformers theme.
Okay.
About how it is possibly the most complex piece of music used for a theme song ever, because it changes timing, it changes scale, and he literally does the whole musical theory piece of it. And he plays, and he's like, this is bonkers. So good.
It's like the Tool equivalent of a theme song.
Yeah.
Gotcha. To add to this question, which of these shows do you think would lend themselves to a game, and what style? Skirmish game, co-op board game, army game? I mean, there's kind of a Transformers game already.
Yeah.
Like Bot Wars, but I reckon
There's already a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one.
Yeah.
I think if we talk a co-op game and a bit of a problem-solving kind of issue, what was
D&D?
No, Centurions.
Okay.
So Centurions, the whole concept, for those people are going, who the hell? There were these like dudes, and there was a plane guy and an army guy and a sea guy kind of concept, but they had these suits that the stuff bolted onto, and they got special equipment that bolted onto their suits. And I just feel like that there's a real problem solving aspect that you could do with 3 people, the air guy, the land guy, and the water guy, and the different equipment you had for which scenario, and swapping it around and that kind of stuff.
Okay. No, that makes sense. I like the way you think. I don't know.
I just want to play Thundercats.
Thundercats. I mean, you can get Thundercats models for Zombicide.
Mm-hmm.
I've been somewhat tempted. I'd like to see a good Transformers game. And actual Transformers, not
actual transforming Transformers, yes.
Oh, look, you could have the models,
Robot form, car form.
Tape deck form.
Oh, tape deck form.
God, yes. I need to get my hands on a proper sound wave at some point. Not like this satellite thing that it became in the movies.
Stupid movies.
Fucking bullshit.
Although, did I see Rise of the Beasts as a release? That's a thing. Anyway.
It's coming. It's coming. All the toys and stuff are coming out already. So, I don't know. It is Michael Bay still, isn't it?
No, it can't be anyone else. No one's willing to take that on.
All right, last question. And I feel like this is directed at you.
Oh, shit.
Which is your favorite My Little Pony?
So, this is not a hard question, and it's probably going to upset some people who are My Little Pony purists, because honestly, I think the latest generation is superior. And Izzy Moonbow is unicorn. And
Izzy Moonbow.
Izzy Moonbow, her little
Is that a pony or a porn star?
it's yes. Her little cutie mark's like a crafty kind of thing. It's got like a button with some little pins in it. Anyway, either way, the concept is ridiculously optimistic, happy, over the top unicorn who's just like, it's kind of like the Pepe Le Pew of My Little Ponies. You know what, a Pepe Le Pew cartoon, forget about the molestation, and think more about
that was the whole theme.
But the other half of this is you had the cat who was scrambling and struggling and doing all this stuff, and he just kind of pranced through and everything kind of just worked. And everything fell into light. It feels like that. She's a little pony, little unicorn that's gone through life, and she's just happy and she's just prancing through, and stuff just kind of works, and she goes with it, and I love it. And also possibly the most banging tune on the movie of all, with lines like, hang on, he says, because for some reason my brain remembers this thing, like I can do the entire rap from Moana, the Maui bit, and not even a problem. But there's a piece in there where they're talking about dressing all the other ponies up as unicorns so they can sneak through the unicorn town. And she's talking about it being a crafty illusion for a bony protrusion. It's not a perfect solution, but the world's not big on inclusion. And there's things like this, and it just gives me the giggles. She's so happy about this thing, and she kind of understands that she's not perfect, and that's okay. Anywho, that's my story.
Fair. And I think that's a good place to leave it. We have talked about Paint It Brown. Paint It Brown is still on. You do have till the end of June to get your piece started, finished
pieces. Feel free to.
Yep.
Yeah. More than one is okay.
I have my Skaven Underworld team that I need to paint up. I could do a bit them brown. But yeah, jump on the Facebook group, jump in the Discord, chat about brown paint with us. But I think that's it for tonight.
I will say that. There is also Thoughtless Bowl. Let's put things out there. That is in a couple of weeks, but there is a space or two available. So if you want to play some Blood Bowl 7s and have a shockingly good time, definitely hit us up about that.
Definitely a couple of spots, and yeah, that's in 2 weeks' time, pretty much.
We better get our shit together.
Yep.
Beyond that, Discord, come and join it. It's a party. Patreon, you can do that if you really want. Why would you? You watch this wherever you get your podcasts from, and when I say watch, I really mean listen. Facebook, Twitch, Podbean, OnlyFans. It's a thing. You can do it. You could be an Only fan. And, like, subscribe, ring the bell button. Anyway, no, don't do that. That's all fucking silly.
Thank you again to Patreons in particular for helping us run all the giveaways and competition, lack of competition. It's more event type things that we do, but they help pay for the prizes. So more Patreons we have, the bigger the prizes, which has been really nice. So thank you to all of you guys, but special thanks to the guys on the highest level, the Thoughtless Patreons, Alice, Clinton, Kingsley. Always appreciated. Love you all.
Bonkers. And I will say a quick special thank you to everyone who asked questions to generate content for things that we couldn't be bothered doing ourselves.
Correct. Thank you,
somebody
all
was
you guys.
And they gave us money for you to come up with the questions. This is a good deal. We should do this more often.
We'll do it next time. All right. Thanks, guys. Laters.
Gotcha.
I know you will. Now watch and learn. This is how a unicorn walks. This is how a unicorn talks. This is how a unicorn hoops. This is how a unicorn Oh, geez, stop. This is how a unicorn struts. Oh, watch a sugar unicorn butts. Now you're in the unicorn Wow. Soon you'll be a unicorn pro. Oh, a unicorn horn makes a unicorn stride. It's a more head on your forehead. It's the source of your pride. Every unicorn who's born has worn a horn that's unique. So we'll whip the make a bony illusion. It's not the perfect solution, but the world's not big on inclusion. And with those rocks in our pockets, we'll reap the reward. And folks will be floored, we'll strike a new chord.